Hi, hello. My name is Nia, and I want to talk about heated rivalry and my unfortunate obsession with the show. Okay, so my story with heated rivalry was very interesting. I was very reluctant to start watching it. I had a friend who was like begging me to watch the show, and I was like, no, I don't want to watch that show because it's just like a bunch of white gay men and it's a sex show. Let me just clarify that I was not upset about it being a queer show. I was upset because a lot of queer shows tend to be very white centered or white cisgender male centered. And I was kind of tired of watching queer shows with just that representation, considering I'm not white. Okay? I'm not throwing that kind of party here where I'm against queerness and sex. No, thank you. And like I was very reluctant to watch it. But then my friend was just like, okay, just watch one episode. And of course, she showed me episode 3. And if you know me, I'm a romance girly and I'm a slow burn. Um, I'm like a slow burn girly. And like technically, Scott and Kip are not slow burn because it just happens like within that one episode. But Scott and Kip, yeah, they got me, y'all. They got me. Why does my nose look so shiny? Yeah, I watched the Scott and Kip episode and I was like, damn, they kind of got me. So I gave in and watched the rest of the show. And y'all, my brain was like, when I watched it.
God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm.
What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure?
Stay calm! Wait. Everybody
This video is too heated rivalry because if love never finds me, I will be okay. So, the reason I titled this video, If Love Never Finds Me, I Will Be Okay, is because watching Heated Rivalry really brought back up my desire. My desire for romance, my desire to be wanted, to be seen, all that stuff that I was really not thinking about on a regular basis because in my head all I'm thinking about work, home, gym, friends. Like I've really buried that sexual like desire part of me because I am queer. I am part of the LGBTQ community and I'm black, and in this time of the world, it just seems it feels more inconvenient to deviate from what's deemed as normal. It feels very inconvenient, and I know that sucks to say, and it makes it seem like being queer is a choice, and it's not a choice. But for me, I love seeing other queer people thrive and live and go against what everybody is saying is normal. But for me personally, in my life, it feels very inconvenient to be queer. And that sucks to say, right? I know it's definitely coming from internalized homophobia and internalized queerphobia and other things of that nature. But it just feels a little easier for me to not think about it. Like I put my desire and personal identity stuff on the back burner because it just feels easier. And then I watched Heated Rivalry and I was like, what are these feelings? What am I feeling right now?
Oh no, it's coming from me now.
So, so I was just like, damn. Like I was watching Heated Rivalry and then I watched it again and again and again and again and again and again and again. And like I am I am a person who gets very emotionally attached like to shows. When I really like a show, I get very emotionally attached to them. Like Bridgerton season 2, very emotionally attached. Season 2 specifically because I feel so connected to those characters. Has Been Hotel season 2 had me down in the dumps, okay? I was down in the dumps. I can't even rewatch the season because it's literally just going to make me depressed all over again. Like, I just, I've always just had a very, very deep connection to the TV shows that I watch. That's just always been my thing. And, yeah, so that hasn't changed. I'm 21 now. That hasn't changed. I don't know when I'm going to grow out of it, but my therapist basically was like, yeah, maybe you should take a break from watching Heated Rivalry. And I was like, I think you're right. So I'm not watching Heated Rivalry for a little bit. But when I did watch it, it just brought those feelings back up. And I think I didn't even realize that like I was really ignoring that part of myself and that I was really like avoiding that part of me, right? Because I just have a lot of feelings when it comes to dating and I don't have a whole lot of confidence. So yeah, a lot of my feelings surrounding dating, I'm just like, I don't know, y'all. I don't know. So all that to say is, when I look at Shane and Ilya's characters, it freaked me out because I was just like, you can get into a relationship and have a lot of baggage and y'all can just like be there. Like y'all can exist in that space. And granted, Heated Rivalry I wouldn't really consider it a romance show. I think it's a show where like romance does exist, but it takes time for it to get there. Like I'm very Heated Rivalry pilled, y'all. I've watched so many deep dives and character analyses of these fuck ass characters. Like it's ridiculous. Like I don't really like get into the actors because I'm like, like I don't know y'all. I don't want to be that person that like projects the characters onto the actors. I've never really been that person, and I'm also not really good at keeping up with people socially, like on social media. Like, so I don't really know much about the actors per se. I saw Connor Story on SNL. He was funny. But yeah, I don't know much about like the actors, you know? But the characters, I feel them. And I'm just like, oh, like you can get into a relationship and like things are hard and you can just like work through them. It's not the end of the world. And I was just like, oh. Because like I feel like a big part of why I was able to avoid dating was because I was like, oh, well, I have all these problems. So, and I don't want anybody to deal with that. I don't want to burden someone with my issues. So it's a healthier option for me to just stay single until I fix myself. And when I said that to my therapist, she was like,
Fool!
and I was like, what do you mean no? Like, I feel like that's a very logical thing to say. And she was like, no, Diva, like, that's not how that works. And I was like, oh, okay. But yeah, so, and like, when I think about like Shane's character specifically and how he is canonically autistic, like canonically neurodivergent, I am not autistic, but I have neurodivergent symptoms from other things. And because of that, I don't know, like it just felt cool that like we see that representation of like a neurodivergent person being with a neurotypical, well, because but being with a, what do they call it, an allistic person, like a non-autistic person, like being with someone who's just kind of like letting him be. Like, that was really interesting to see because you just don't really see that, especially in a queer relationship. Like, oh my God. So I had really just been neglecting that part of myself, and I don't think I realized that it needed nurturing. But anyway, to get into if love never finds me, I will be okay. I agree with that because some of my favorite moments of heated rivalry were not between Shane and Ilya or Scott and Kip. It was between the characters and their friends. Shane and Hayden have such a cute relationship. Whenever they do those cute little helmet taps, like
Which one, right? Fuck the Knights.
I don't know if that's like just a hockey thing. I'm assuming it's a hockey thing because like why else would they do it? But like Shane and Hayden doing those helmet taps, or like Kip and his friends, and like how much of support systems they were. Oh, please don't do that. My cat is like, but yeah, like Kip's friends and how supportive they were, and just like how much. Please stop. And just how much like friendship is such an, even Rose and Shane's relationship. Love those two. Love those two. Love those two. And yeah, like I love seeing the friendships in heated rivalry. That's why I say if love never finds me, I will be okay, because I think a big part of finding a big issue is that we as humans are kind of groomed to believe that finding romance is the end goal. Like it feels like, at least for me, that friends have just been seen as like place fillers until you find your one true pairing. And then once you find that person, you don't really need anybody else. And I heavily disagree with that. I heavily disagree with that. The only reason Shane and Ilya and Scott and Kip were able to kind of progress as people is because they had such good support systems outside of the people that they were romantically involved with. And let me again just clarify, I understand that that most of them have very traumatic family backgrounds, but I mean like Ilya, like he still had Svetlana, and I'm assuming as time goes on he'll gain more friends. But yeah, like in terms of friends, they have a pretty good support system that they're around, which I find really, really endearing. And I feel like that's really, really important. So yeah, I don't know, like, and I feel like heated rivalry, at least for me, it wasn't making it like once you, and especially because like I kind of know how the second book goes. It's not selling that message of like, oh, once you find the person that you're with, everything else will fall into place. Like that's not the case ever. Like when you're getting with someone, you're getting with a person and their memories and their trauma and their experiences, and just everything that they've been through and all the people that have raised them. That's who you're getting with. That's who you're with, you know? And love is like an active choice to continue to experience and learn and understand that person until you don't want to anymore. So when I say if love never finds me, I will be okay, I don't mean love in general. I think love is very important and is a very important part of life. But if romance never finds me, I think I'll be fine. Just because romance is really freaking scary. Like I'm 21, like I'm an adult, and me thinking about connecting with someone is like super terrifying. Like I'm very, very afraid of that possibility. Um, you know, it's hard out here, but it's scary. Like it's very scary to think about. So I don't know. Like heated rivalry did bring up those desire feelings, but I'm also like, but I think part of me still wants to avoid it, just like out of fear of like, I don't know. So yeah, that's all I really wanted to discuss. I really been wanting to make this video for a while, and I don't know, I just wanted to post it to YouTube because Bitch, I live in the digital age. Like, what the fuck? Anyway, I do want to tell you about this book I've been reading. It's called Severance by Ling Ma. I don't know if you can see it, but it's Severance. No, it's not related to the show Severance. Okay? But it's a book that takes place in an apocalyptic world where there's a fever that happened and there are 9 survivors, and the main character is an Asian American woman. She her family immigrated to America when she was 9 years old, and she's like a millennial, so there's like a lot of modernity to this book, and it the perspective shifts of like when she like post-apocalyptic, I mean pre-apocalypse to like the current time. And it's just really interesting because it really does grapple with your understanding of like grief and memory and stuff. And I do want to read a part that really, really stuck out to me. I want to see if I can find it. If I don't find it, that's fine. She says, because I misremember everything, because I watch a lot of China travel travel shows when I am alone at night in New York, because TV mixes with my dreams, mixes with my memories. Like, I felt that shit, bro. I felt that shit for real. But it's a really, really good book. Please support your local libraries. I got the shit from the library. Period. But yeah, please support your local libraries, and it's a really good book, and I can't wait to continue reading it. So yeah.